Okay.
E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. 𝐸𝐤𝐿. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school. And raw interviews from local athletes, and even digging off and entertainment too. Own style, he got his own lane, it's unfiltered dog, we keep it raw, man. New content to keep the people ready. E36, no Jerome Betty, it's real dialogue and real conversations. You keep it real, but we real. Mr. 𝐸𝐤𝐿 in the building. E36 Unfiltered.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy 𝐸𝐤𝐿 back again for another edition of the E36 Unfiltered Live podcast. It's gonna be a great week, man. It's been a great week, a phenomenal week, as a matter of fact. Just back here, kind of give a little preview. I could not let this week pass by. I've been quite busy, been a lot going on this week, but I couldn't let this week pass by with such things that has happened in the sports of college football. Week one, of course, of the NFL also tipped off Thursday night, so that was a great event as well. With the Chiefs and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions in a nail biter, which the Kansas City Chiefs were upset, despite being also a little shorthanded with not having the go-to guy, Travis Kelce. But Detroit Lions came out with an impressive win, and we had some rookie step up and show what they was about. Two Alabama boys did a hell of a job. Come out the gate with Branch having a pick six on his first NFL regular season debut. It couldn't be better than that. And also Gibbs came out and had some impressive runs in the running game along with David Montgomery to be able to push them to the victory. But anyway, that's a little bit about the NFL. Now moving into, like I said, week two, man, some big games. Alabama first real test going to be against Texas. It's going to be this Saturday. So be Saturday, so Saturday today. At 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Bryant-Denny Stadium, where College Game Day is on the campus, rocking and rolling. It's definitely going to be definitely an event. If you're down in Tuscaloosa, you're going to have the time of your life. It's your first time being down there. Trust me, when game day is there, it's 10 times more hype. All right. So anyway, I'm not gonna hold much more, and also, of course, we're gonna talk about the Colorado Buffaloes, man, and the coach Prime Time, holding up to the hype. Speaking his truth and backing up what he talked about. He said he bringing the Louis bag with some luggage in it. Hey, he didn't come empty-handed. He delivered. So we're gonna talk about that big game they had, a statement win for the program, who went 1-11, hasn't been a beat and ranked team, I think it's since 2002. So well over 20 years since that has been done. With that being said, we're gonna jump right into it, man. Starting, like I said, with the Colorado Buffalo. My man Coach Prime. But before we do that, I want you guys to make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. If you're in here, hit that like button, hit that share button. We're gonna get this thing rocking and rolling. Also, don't forget you can find us on all platforms. I'm talking Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, Video. And for our video, it's going to be on YouTube, E36 Unfiltered. And of course, I'll be dropping clips throughout the week, guys. So we're back on this thing, rocking and rolling. Like I said, the biggest dominance right now, God, that we're talking about is going to be the Alabama versus Texas game, as well as the Colorado and Nebraska game coming up this week with first-year coach Matt Rhule. So, getting into that, they did not disappoint. And I'm talking about Colorado. Guys, these guys came out the gate with some massive, it's a 45-42 victory that they had last week against number 17 ranked TCU Horned Frogs in their home stadium of Fort Worth, a team that just last season was the runner-up to the national champions, Georgia Bulldogs. So these guys were just in the national championship this last year. So I'm saying that because you cannot underestimate and belittle the magnitude of a victory like that coming from a team who had over 80 up to almost 70 plus transfers, and has been basically been saying they're not ready. They don't stand a chance. They don't see any upset happening. I mean, you can go through the clips after clip after clip after clip from Paul Feinberg, from Tom Luganbill, making a horrendous, terrible take on the Colorado transfers and the recruits. Talking about they may have I think a worse roster than UMass. Like, are we serious? Like, like I said, Joe Klatt, who was a former quarterback, starting quarterback for Colorado, now of course a analyst as well, sports analyst, was very very vocal about his dislike and um, how disappointed he was about his take. I mean, you can see the clip. I mean, he was going in on it, and rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna start off this thing like I should have started off. Do you believe? Do you believe? Drop in that comment, guys. Do you believe that Colorado is as advertised? Do you believe they actually got something? Do you believe they're gonna make some smoke this year? I think they already started that. I mean, he talked about Travis Hunter being he is him. He is that dude. This guy played 145 snaps, 147 if you count the two dead ball penalties, but 145 snaps. I have never seen that in my life of a player. Even in high school, you didn't have that many plays, so you didn't get a chance to see a player do that many plays. And this guy was in the locker room afterward, like he just played 45 snaps. All right, he finished up with 11 catches for 119 yards receiving, and a one interception. I mean, he and people know they see about the dynamic catches he made on offense. But what I want to do is take the time to talk about some of the game-saving plays that he was able to make, as I see on defense, on two different occasions. One of them, actually, matter of fact, two of them took place in the same series. So the first one is, I think they forgot the guy's name. I say Damien Ely, Bailey, I think it was. Anyway, the running back from TCU broke out from like the 2 yard line, gone. Nobody's gonna catch him. He'd make it a phenomenal jump cut to get past the last defender to get to the outside, and he was off to the races. Well, on the opposite side of the field was Travis Hunter playing his position, had a perfect angle as far as him being his pursuit. He took off, and if you haven't seen it, guys, a clip of him showing how fast he accelerated. This guy was clocked at the highest speed of 21.2 miles per hour. He came there and ran this guy down, ran the running back down because other than that, wasn't nobody going to catch him. Unfortunately, Sanders Shallow didn't have the speed to be able to catch him. He was gone. Number three, he had already missed the tackle. He was gone. Heading down the sideline, he slows him up enough to make the tackle for Shedeur to kind of help him making the tackle that he finished it off. So that stopped him. I can't think of what the yard line it was at that time, but that was a major stop. Otherwise, that would have been a score. Well, they went down, proceeded down the goal line, and this was man-to-man coverage. This is where he showed that he is him, that prime time effect. They were playing man-to-man. And of course, he talks about it. He even explained on a show I saw, or he's on live, about how he understood what was going on. This was man coverage, and he said either he's gonna run a mesh route. They're either gonna run a mesh route or out route or in. And he noticed, hey, when the guy took the inside release, it was clear for him based off his film study and his coaching that he went an in route. I know what he's going. I know where he's going. But at the same time, he said he saw the quarterback eyes. Again, it's a man coverage. You won't know. You don't have time to peek. So he took a gamble just off that top. If you know anything about playing a defense secondary, you man and man, your eyes need to be on that man. Only time you looking back is when you got great position, you are in phase, not out of phase, in phase, and now you know you can look back and you see the eyes of the receiver also kind of edging towards the quarterback. You look to locate the ball. Well, he said he peeked there and saw the quarterback eyes lock on that receiver or the running back that came out the backfield, who was unguarded, pretty much had got picked. And so he said immediately, he said, once his eyes stayed on him, he said, I'm going to take a chance. He let his guy release. He baited him. He talks about he baited him to take that throw. That man made a diving catch. It was a beautiful catch. It was pure just giftedness. That's even the word. Pure athletic, talented, phenomenal pick on him. A diving catch, made that catch. And that right there changed a lot of that game. That was a very, very big play on his part because again, they go down and score. That's a whole totally different game. All right. Third play he made was early in the game. They actually had Travis beat. He was in out of phase. He didn't panic. He stayed on his technique. They threw it in the end zone. And the guy, he put it out there when only the receiver really could get it. And somehow Travis also dove out at the same time. And just at the last minute when that player was about to bring the ball into his chest to complete the catch, boom. Travis came to knock the ball out, deflected it, gave it, and that was it. Big play. I'm like, okay, because they was going at him. I guess they was like, hey, we're gonna see if you are who they say you are. If you are him, you gotta show that you are him. And guess what he did? He showed that he was him. All right. Um, in addition to that, just talking about Travis Hunter, man, I'm serious. The guy has ability to be in shape and condition enough and have the mental capacity and toughness to be able to play in 100 plus degree heat in Texas, first game of the season, and to not have those mental letdowns that can happen so often playing that many plays. I remember I'm thinking about 145 plays. I can't imagine in my college days in Alabama playing secondary. My maximum play was 70, I think 78 plays in the game, in our defense game, in our game, and I was gassed. I was gassed. There was times where I'm like, oh my goodness. Now I will say this: you hit a second wind that kind of be like, oh, I'm actually all right. You kind of zone in, but yeah, it was 78 plays. I think it was our bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm not sure. My mind it eludes me, but that was the maximum amount of plays I played. And you need you need those breaks. But he's playing both sides of the ball. I mean, he's getting it. You know what I'm saying? And that was included for me. That was included special teams and defense. This guy also, I think, matter of fact, I think he played a little special teams on returning the punt or kickoff, for that matter. So now we got that. Now flipping to my man, his son, Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders had a lot of naysayers coming out of college, coming out of high school. Specifically, he had some chip on his shoulder because he talked about him going to the camp of TCU when he was living in Fort Worth, and how the TCU coach really didn't pay him no attention, which is Gary Patterson. It's pretty much just like he was just another guy. And lo and behold, he never forgot that. He came out with a very I mean, just think about this, guys. This guy was little to no known quarterback. Even though he's a 4-star quarterback, his offer was FIU. He came out FAU or FIU coming out of high school. Okay, and then of course his father took a job at Jackson State, JSU. He went to JSU, did his thing, balled out. I mean, he had a hell of a year. The 2 years he was there. I mean, he did a great job. So anyway, he does it, but they say, can he perform? He did it on FCS levels. Okay, cool. That's cool. HBCU. Okay. But can you do this on the big level, the Power Five conference? The Power Five conference, Division One, top of the charts. Can you perform? I think he answered that question to a tune of 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 38 to 47 on his passing. So this guy was, I mean, because they really didn't have a running game. They did not have you passing 47 times in the game. And it wasn't because they wanted to. It wasn't because it was just like blowing out. They were just slinging. They had to. They had to come back from behind to really wrap that game up. Okay, because they was on the head. They jumped on the head and they had the things going their way, and then it slipped out of their hands. The third quarter, midway the fourth quarter, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. But the thing for me that stood out that was so impressive about Shedeur, you never at any point in time that I ever see him rattle. It seemed like they scored. Okay, let's go score. Let's go again. Oh, well, let's go score. It was just clockwork. This is who I am. I am him. You know what I'm saying? And I was so impressed with the performance of the players, man. And this is the first time also in his ability to spread the ball around. And also the first time in Colorado's history that they have 4 receivers to go over 100 yards receiving. And if you ask me, I don't remember the last time I watched a game of knowing a game where they had 4 receivers go over 100 yards. That's over a bill. Are we serious? You talking about a Horn? I think he pulled out 117 yards. Dylan Edwards, a true freshman, 4-star freshman that also played with Prime when he was in youth football, which is now he's playing with him. I think he had 5 catches for 135 yards, 3 touchdowns as a true freshman, first collegiate game. I mean, phenomenal. Little guy went crazy. So that's 2 of them. Then, of course, like I said, Travis Hunter hit for 119 yards off 11 catches. And I'm sorry, Horn Jr. also had 11 catches as well. And yes, he is the Horn, the son of the former New Orleans Saints receiver back in the day. Phenomenal receiver, Horn. If you don't know about him, go check him out. Shame on you if you don't know about him. Anyway, also Weaver. Likewise, over 100 yards receiving as well. So these are the names, guys, that stuck out. We didn't know these names before, but we know them now. All right. So you're dealing with a team, man. At the end of the day, like I said, Colorado came out, and what I think I love about what happened at the end, a couple of things before then. Prime spoke on that he was going to come out that gate. He was going to run out that tunnel at the first game of the season. He said, I won't be walking. I will be running out there with my team, and I'd be dang if he didn't do just that. Came up out that tunnel in true prime time fashion. Had the boys rocking, had the confidence, had the music playing, and the boy stepped out there, delivered. They shocked the college football world. And a lot of the naysayers who've been saying things all throughout the season had to eat their words. And that's why you get him at the press conference where he sat down there and he heard a Pacific reporter ask him a question and he stopped it immediately. No, 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 no. Do you believe? Huh? No, 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 baby. No, no, no. Do you believe? Now, I got the receipts, baby. I got the receipts. I need to know, do you believe? Now, do you believe? And the reporter proceeded to say, believe about what? See, there you go. See, you don't believe. You know, no, 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 no. You don't believe. And it was beautiful because like, as much as Prime stays focused and you hearing, and that's a part of not going against the culture of what we've been taught. I remember as a former player, we always coaches always tell us don't read newspaper clippings. Don't read it. Don't get into it. Don't worry about that stuff. And that means and that's on both sides. Meaning, don't get into it and read into it and feed into it. Because Saban said it to us all the time. When they tell you how good you are, how great you are, this and that and third. And also, don't read newspaper clippings and allow what they are saying against you, the naysayers are saying about you, to dictate you. Because in their mind, that's external factors that you can't control, that you don't want you to be motivated by that, but be motivated by the internal process that you have to go through to make sure you be the best you can be on that Saturday. But Prime is doing exactly the opposite, even as a coach. Everyone say he's shaking up the game, man. I understand why coaches tell us that, because everybody's not strong enough to be able to handle that type of scrutiny, that type of word, and not allow it to affect them from a negative standpoint. But Prime, like, nah, baby, that's what feed is. I'm gonna still do me. We're gonna still do what we do. That's not gonna bother. That's not gonna bother. That's not gonna take away from what we do. And I think even though I said, yeah, that's a slippery slope because everybody ain't built like that. But I truly believe that you are a product of the environment of your leader, and it showed, because same thing that he saw, the players saw, Shedeur saw, Shiloh saw, Travis Hunter saw, Dylan Edwards saw, everybody. Okay, and so with that being said, man, I just salute to them. They got a big week coming up again this week with a Matt Rule, and also Matt Rule, for you guys that do not know. I don't know. I want to know what you think, what you think your prediction will be, or the prediction will be for this game. But Matt Rule has some choice words early in the process of the recruiting process and stuff as well that people tend to forget, but I didn't. So I kind of researched a little bit of what Matt Rule has said, because now he's singing Deion's praises. How good Deion is doing a great job. He changed the landscape of college football. This, that, and the third. And he had got into it, and he was saying this in April the 18th, April 19th of this year, saying last month, if you notice in our videos that we post, and I'm proud of the posts, and I'm proud to post those, they're always one of us working. They're never one of us talking. This program is built on work. It's not built on hype. And can find out that was a really direct shot at Coach Prime, who, makes quite a few videos with him talking, or his players talking, or talking about the different recruits, saying, hey, I ain't hard to find, baby. I ain't hard to find. These things, send these messages out. And some of the players don't like that, because some of the coaches don't like that, because it's kind of shaking up the landscape. I love it. I think it's needed to be had to see I'm gonna be honest, to see a coach, a former legend like himself, still a legend that he is, and a black African American who say, I ain't finna change for nothing, nobody. This is what got me here. This is who I am, and I be doggone if I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it my way. I've always done it my way, with my chain hanging low, with my shades on. I'm swagged out. I'm doing me, and I think that the kids have been able to gravitate towards that, and not many coaches are gonna be able to do that, because they don't have that type of. Prime is a special one, man. He is special. The vitriol, the anxiety, the hate that he received from leaving Jackson State, that speaks volumes, because they know his impact. They know what he brings to the table. They know what he brought to the table. I think he should be saluted for what he did while he was there. Most definitely. I don't know. I think he did what he had to do and do what he needed to do. And especially bringing a team that now features 70+% of the players are African American. So he's still giving back. He's still helping. He's still elevating and bringing them along, and including his coaching staff. This guy has a coaching staff he pulled from, and that's the thing about it. Even though some try to say they don't respect him, they don't like how you doing this, that, and third. Guess what? That coaching staff don't say that. Coaching staff. He got two coaches from the University of Alabama football team. I forgot the name. I want to say Sinceri. I want to say, and another coach. I mean, he's been pulling top notch, top level coaches, and it shows. His man knows how to run a program, how to build a program. This is the second team he has done this with on a collegiate level, starting with Jackson State, who up until he came, I used it 5 or 6 seasons of losing seasons consecutive. He goes there in his 2 years, turns the program around, went to SWAC back-to-back conference SWAC champions, uh, on the heels, almost winning the national championship for the HBCU. So I mean, and then he comes to this team here. They haven't had, like I said, a winning team, and God knows when. In addition to being a ranked team, so it's enough to be said, man. And I think now, and I want to propose this question: do you guys think at this point that he is, if not now, when do you think the Buffaloes, Colorado, will be a legitimate national champion contender for the college football playoffs? Do you think he's 2 seasons away, 3 seasons away? I want to hear that. My prediction this season, next season, I'll say about 2 years. About 2 to 3 solid years. So this is 2023. I say about the 2025 season, he will be a legitimate. If he stay there, that team will be a legitimate national contender. I believe it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the Pac-12 or the Pac-4 that it is now. Um, with everything that's going on in the landscape, when they're going to move to the Big 12 or the Big 10 or whatever. But wherever they're going to be at, teams going to deal with them. They're going to deal with the Colorado Buffalo. And on the recruiting trail, every team, I'm talking about the Alabamas, the Georgia, the Texas, the Ohio State, the Oregons. Now you're going to hear the Colorado Buffalo be coming up in their name. Especially if they can continue the trajectory they are on and pull out these 6 to 7. When they make it to a bowl this year, this is going to speak volumes to what he is doing and how he know how to build a program and how he know how to connect with these players and expect. Now, there won't be another overhaul like he had this past year with transfer portal, just for obvious reasons because of the rule changes at the NCAA, and just not having to try to have a quick turnover so fast. He can kind of start building true nucleus of what he wants, and he knows how to identify what he wants, and go after it. I think that's when they're gonna really turn the tide to a whole nother level. All right. So, man, shout out to the Colorado, to Prime. I've been a Prime. I've been a fan of Prime since his days for the Falcons. I mean, so it never stopped. Always been one of my favorite players. I think he is the best defensive cornerback secondary guy ever. Point blank, period. And I still believe he is the best athlete that ever played in the NFL, period, or all the sports. The guy played at a high level of 2 sports: baseball, football. Tell me who's been able to dominate to that facet. Just haven't had longevity. Bo Jackson was great, but it was so short lived due to his injury. It's hard to put him on that. His pedigree, his resume doesn't measure out to be able to sustain that type of accolade, in my opinion. Prime did. He was always a guy on every team he played. The Super Bowl champion. It was always where he went, the championships came. But anyway, enough of that one, man. So primetime tips tomorrow. They playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers is going down. Check it out. I will be there. I will be glued to that TV. Watching it. It's coming on in a few hours. I can't wait. Let's move to it real quick. The University of Alabama guys, Texas Longhorns, is going down tomorrow. Like I said, it's gonna be not tomorrow. Keep it tomorrow. It's going down. Alabama, Texas, number 3 Alabama, Roll Tide, Crimson Tide, my alumni, my spot, my old stomping grounds against the Texas Longhorns. This time they will be coming to Bryant-Denny Stadium, baby. Bryant is coming down, all right? Now, a couple of things about this, man. Last year, they have been talking a lot, have really confident. They felt that had not Quinn Ewers got hurt last year, that they would have pulled an upset on us. The last year we pulled it out 20-19 or 21-19. Close one down in Texas. They felt like they got robbed. They felt like the previous time before then, in 2010, 2009, 2010, the championship, BCS championship game, that they got robbed as well. When, of course, Colt McCoy got knocked out by Marcel Darius on that hit. They felt if wouldn't have got hurt, then it would have been a totally different game, and they possibly would have won the championship. And that was actually the last championship, or even close to a championship appearance, since that day, and down in Pasadena. I beg to differ, but that's their take. But no matter what, all will be proven tomorrow. All will be proven 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got a couple of pettiness going on with this for him, man. This is just a good thing. Last year, apparently, the Texas ticket holders would not allow Alabama to bring their band last year. They think they're going to put them in a nosebleed or something, whatever. So therefore, they didn't travel. So this year, Alabama has got the petty return and return the favor, and they're going to stick the the Texas Longhorn band in the nosebleed section. Like, they're going to go down to the field. They're going to travel all the way around the spiral. If you haven't been to Brown Denny Stadium, it's a big, huge spiral. Got to walk around to be able to get down to the field. And the same thing going back up. Can you imagine carrying those big drums, the toms, tubes? Come on, a trumpet. It's gonna go down. So that's they pettiness at their best. Shout out to the Tide for that one, man. I love it. Payback is a mother. You better remember. And also some of the fans, Texas fans, nosebleed section as well. So salute. The petty just keep on growing, baby. So this is definitely a real rivalry going down. Also there's another one with the Coach Saban assistant once again, Steve Sarkisian, which of course used to be a former OC at University of Alabama for quite a few years. Now he's going into his third season at Texas, which I will admit he has built that program up. He has taken the blueprint of what it takes to have a dominant team that has the ability to compete on a national level, and that's where found in the trenches. They got a big hog in his name. God, his name eluding me right now. But one of the big tackles that the Rice coach talked about, how impressed he was. I think this guy's like 6'4", 332 pounds, athletic. I mean, just nasty. I saw a few clips of him. I think his last name is Stewart, but big D lineman. And Texas got quite a few of those, and also they was able to pick up some transfers from Alabama as well that went when Sarkisian went. After they didn't feel they was being able to, break the lineup as they would have hoped to. They packed their bags up and took advantage of the transfer portal and moved to Texas. They having some glowing, and been able to add to the depth that Texas has. In addition to that, you're looking at a lot going on, man, with the recruiting. They have built their team up recruiting wise. I will give them that. Putting in some top level recruits, landing some big recruits in their time. One, i.e., being Arch Manning, which I'm still kind of skeptical to see was he actually going to get that chance, because one thing about Quentin Ewers, he has held down the position. They was able to win 37-10 against Rice last week. That game does not have the ability to really tell a lot. But one thing they did show is Ewers' ability or inability to continue to hit the deep ball. And you're talking about Texas, who may have one of the most loaded wide receiver crew, along with them, Ohio State, Oklahoma. I may be missing a few. Can't think of them, but those for sure strong. But he went 0 for 6, 0 for 7 last week on any deep balls over 20 yards. And out of the three, it's said that out of the three quarterbacks they have on the roster, that he has the weakest arm of all three. Doesn't spell well for him, because he had to have, and that to me, and the reason why I speak to that is because if you have the weapons, but you with deep speed and things of that nature, but you don't have the quarterback that know how to either accurately get it to him or has the strength of the arm to get it to him, then that's useless. It's just same as last year with Alabama. We had the quarterback that can get it to him, but we didn't have the receiver that knew how to consistently get separation and to be able to make those big catches. So it took a whole nother element of your game away. And I think looking at the stats from last week, I think not thinking about it, but it was hard to kind of tell a lot about what they was bringing to the table, because I think what's my man name? No, that's Texas. So they didn't have like 164 yards of rushing, but the quarterback was actually doing more damage than anybody. Um, his Quentin was like had a pretty good game, with his ability to throw the ball, but didn't really do a whole lot. I was kind of under impressed with what I saw with them. With playing a team that's Rice, what I felt they should have put up far more points, but you can tell they missed quite a few deep ball throws, whether it was underthrown or overthrown by ears that I think took some points off the board. Um, their running game was no subpar. The running game was sufficient, efficient enough. Okay, but I said I really think it's gonna be a great matchup, man. Because at the end of the day, they do match up with what Alabama has. Not tit for tat, talent wise. Alabama still has a phenomenal defense. Just talented all the way across the board. Now I'm gonna flip to the other side of the ball. With my man Jalen Miro, I think that he shows had a good impression last week coming out the gate to start off his season, but it was still a little bit of an aspect of you don't quite know what we have. And the reason why I speak to this is because I don't know about you guys, but feel free to chime in. I am a little unease about not our ability to block up front and to dominate, but our ability for our running backs to find that groove where they really just hitting it. It just seems like they don't always hit the hole or seeing it or knowing how the time. It's like things are still off. Or they say they don't they don't really do too great of a job of breaking tackles. Now Rodale Williams, and I think he's the most powerful back that we have as of now. Um, but I just didn't feel like we should. I didn't feel like the run game was as dominant as it should have been, and as dominant as I know they was wanting to get back to. Alabama wants to get back to, which is that where they dominate the line of scrimmage, they run the ball at will, and they make the other team want to quit, and therefore creating more of a balanced offense. And I think this is one thing that Jalen Milroe can bring, and that running game can bring back, whereas they're not as dependent on one element. Last year, it was all about Bryce. Bryce gonna get it out this jam. If we need a big play, Bryce gonna find a way to make the big play. He gonna get the Jameer, gonna jump it off the Gibbs. And Gibbs gonna find a way to make a slasher and take off and make a couple people miss and do what they do. And the majority of the season, they did that. They did do that. But you can see we definitely lost our identity. I think that's what made Alabama football got a little lost, and I think it has been there for the last couple of years. And due process, part of that is due to the high level of quarterback play that we have been able to have. You're talking about going from Hurts, then transferring to Tua, then going from Tua to Matt Jones, then from Matt Jones to Bryce Young coming out the gate. So you talking about these guys. These guys now are well known names in the league right now as starting quarterback. So if that's the case, it calls your element, it calls your team to have to rely on your talent. You go where your talent is at, but to a fault that I think we lost that grit, and you came more with finesse, and also put now with that being said, people understand. Yeah, the defense was not on the peak goal and was not who they needed to be. It was not. It's just as simple as that. It wasn't knocking cats in the mouth. Wasn't doing none of that stuff. But one thing that I think people also lost the element of is that how many plays did the defense had to play because of the times when offense weren't able to really produce, or did the offense were producing so fast that was putting the defense back on the field so much more. And I know from experience, if you are playing, you start teetering into that anywhere from 75 and up amount of snaps in a game on defense, that ain't good. That means you're not stopping them on third down. That means they're continuing drives, which means they're continuing drives, but also says that they are being put back on the field. They're also going to be a reflection of how many three and outs your offense is creating. That's putting your defense back on the field, back on the field, back on the field. Long drives, no third down stop. All these things contribute to more opportunities for that opposing offense, and therefore more opportunity for the defense to get exposed, to have a lapse in the coverage, have a lapse in the tackling, different things of that nature. Fatigue kicks in. People start to play hero ball, trying to stop the bleeding. So there's so many elements that has played into the defense from last year, and I think just in general, when you look at the landscape and the full scope of what causes a defense to have those laps and not look as dominant and not look as physical. But I think under Kevin Steele, which is also my D coordinator while I was there, has returned back for the third time, and you can feel it. You can feel it. Getting back to that, and I think that it's not. Think about it. that defense is no short of quite a few playmakers. Some fresh faces out there with Caleb Downs, who was a starting safety in game one, week one, is very, very impressive. A 5-star. Again, had a phenomenal recruiting class this past season, past recruiting class, and it just showed he's one of the products from that 2023 number one historic recruiting class. But with that being said, I want to see what I'm looking forward to tomorrow is seeing the ability for us to really show if we can establish the control and the reins over the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. If we can do that, we win. Simple as that. And Jalen Miro can protect the ball, make smart decisions, know how to use his leg when he needs to use them, and hit the open receivers. Um, I think we're in good hands, But it's going to be a real test to really show us what he's really made of, how much progress he has really made this season, and kind of see what our rest of our season going to look like. Like I said, he had a couple of Jermaine Burton had a good, and number 84, I forgot my man's name for them for Alabama. He had some very good, accurate deep ball passes last week, and hoping and believing that it can continue. It's going down, man. Again, that's my take on that one. It's going down. So Coach Saban said he can be able to continue his dominance. Right now, he's 28-2 when it comes to him playing against his assistants, and both of those losses occurred in 2021. They had 2021. So not many times have he dealt with that type of fate, and I believe that record will not be 28-3, but 29-2. It's going down. Steve Sarkisian against Coach Saban, the legend, the GOAT, college football. Alabama versus Texas. Check it out. Don't want to miss it. Game day is there. It's going down. All right, guys. Now, before I sign out, y'all make sure y'all go hit that like button. Come follow us on Instagram at E36 Unfiltered. Follow us on Instagram, E36 Unfiltered. It's happening. Donate, support, guys. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Signing out. It's going down. College football. Check us out. Tune in. Drop your comments. Share this. Like this. Share this. All that great stuff. I'm out.
Okay. E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered.